Be ambitious. Try to succeed at all cost.
In this video is the interview with Thomas Peterffy, the 56th richest man in the world. Thomas Peterffy, born September 30th, 1944, is a Hungarian-born American billionaire businessman. He is the founder, chairman, and largest shareholder of Interactive Brokers. Peterffy worked as an architectural draftsman after emigrating to the United States and later became a computer programmer. In 1977, he purchased a seat on the American Stock Exchange and played a role in developing the first electronic trading platform for securities. Forbes' 2023 list of the world's billionaires estimated his net worth at $25.3 billion, making him the 57th richest man in the world. Hi everyone, welcome to Exceptional Luxury. On this channel we celebrate and make honest and to the point narrated videos about luxury, lifestyle, and wealthiest people all over the world. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the bell. The interview begins in 10 seconds. Thomas Peterffy lives at his $100 million mansion in Palm Beach. In this interview, he explained exactly how he got here. And without a doubt, Thomas Peterffy lives in one of the most beautiful houses you've ever seen.
Really?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thomas Peterffy started the interview by saying how much in assets his company Interactive Brokers have under management.
Roughly $350 billion.
So taking it back to the beginning, back to 1944, the year he was born, he explained the tragedy of how he was born and what his growing up was like.
1944, I was born in Budapest during the time when the city was under siege and it was being bombed. And I was born in the basement of the hospital because there was a bombing raid. Right. I just grew up with my mother. And we had no money back then. Barely had any.
He also explained how he made his first money in high school from selling juicy fruit gum to his classmates.
I was 12 years old at the time. It was at the time of the Hungarian Revolution. The Hungarian people were basically fenced in so that they couldn't go out. And I had an older friend who was about 18 years old in the building who went out to Vienna with a Red Cross truck and came back with juicy food grubs. And he sold them to me for $2 a stick, and I cut them into 5 pieces and sold them for $1
Thomas
a stick.
Peterffy is neighbors with Trump. He lives just around the corner from Trump's, and he said that Trump doesn't like neighbors' helicopters flying over.
Yeah, well, Trump doesn't like it when it flies over here.
Yeah.
So he just lives down there. 3 houses down that way.
He went ahead and explained his move to the United States after high school at 21 years and the challenges he faced when he moved to America, how he survived and made his money.
I was 21 when I came to the United States. Did not speak English and I did not have money, so that was a challenge. Both of them were a challenge. I got a job as a draftsman. So I was studying surveying back in Hungary. I understood maps and I was hired by a highway designing firm to draw maps, basically highways. They didn't teach it anywhere at that time yet. The company where I just got this job bought a little computer. In those days, there were no commercially available computers in the United States. So they bought this computer and they realized that nobody knew how to program it, and I volunteered to learn how to do it, and I did. Manuals. I just took the manual and started writing the program.
Thomas talked about how he went from working that job to getting a seat on the American Stock Exchange, the path that made him a billionaire.
So before I did that, I went to work as a computer programmer on Wall Street, where I heard about options, puts and calls. I was intrigued by the question of how to calculate the correct price for an option. I figured that out and wanted to go to trade for myself. And so I've been saving money, and over the 10 years of working, I saved up $200,000, which in those days was more like $200,000 today. So I bought a seat on the stock exchange and went down to the floor as a trader. That was very different in those days because there were no computers. There was, just people yelling and shouting. That certainly was not the best way to do this, because by that time, computer technology was at the time just at the point where you could have computerized the exchanges. This was in 1977. But of course, they didn't want to do this because the big traders made their money out of the
In 1984, Thomas launched Timber Hill, which has now become Interactive Brokers, the largest brokerage in the United States.
So I spent 5 years on the floor trying to understand how things work, kept asking them to convert to computerized systems, and they kept saying, no, go away. The specialists didn't want to trade with me because they knew that I knew the numbers better than they did. So I hired very attractive young women to trade for me. We told them what to trade. They went back to the specialist and they said, I'd like to buy such and such. After a while, the specialist wised up and they said, well, that's not going to work. By the rules, they were right, so I didn't know what to do. So then in '82, and decided that I would have a computer that would get all the prices. So my computer took in those bids and offers and analyzed them and printed out the best trades to do, which, by the way, I have in my office here. I can show it to you. But it was a decade and a half earlier, right? So it was touch sensitive, and you could communicate with the computer by where you touched it.
He talked about how creating something like this, getting his company off the ground, and taking it to now billions of dollars, took him 40 years. How he almost went bankrupt several difficult times, and what that feels like.
Well, this was 40 years ago when we went down with that. So 40 years is a long time, It didn't come very fast, It's just you have to do it day after day after day, week after week, year after year. It takes a long time. Well, several times I almost went bankrupt, yes, several times. So sure, I remember, it's horrible.
He further explained how he couldn't remember when he became a billionaire, but definitely remembered his first million and the first 10 million.
No, I don't. But I remember the times when I almost went bust, yeah.
So,
no, the billionaire is not. It is the first million and the first 10 million that are difficult. Once you got there, it goes faster and faster.
Moving forward, Thomas gave some advice and his opinion about another market crash of no return.
Well, there'll be crashes, and there'll be a final crash from which there is no return. I believe that because there is social dissonance, and we don't have a solid financial basis anymore, given all the debt, and we can just keep adding to the debt. So I think eventually it will collapse. And when it comes back, it will take some years to come back. The companies and the stocks will not exist when the system comes back again. So so the stocks that you end up with will be worthless. Yeah, it will be a risk.
He also responded on how we can prepare for the crashes.
But my mother told me always, the only thing they can never take away from you is what you have learned.
Furthermore, he gave one piece of advice to anyone watching this video.
Be ambitious. Try to succeed at all cost.
Finally, in this interview, he explained how he wants Interactive Brokers to get even bigger and bigger, building the best product and helping his investors.
Sure, I still want to succeed better than I have so far. I'd like interactive brokers to become bigger and more successful. Yeah. Please subscribe. I have seen some of the videos he has made. I think you will learn a lot if you subscribe and watch. That's correct.